I've heard a lot about Marcelo Bielsa, although from older football fans. They all seem to marvel at his tactical artistry. For me, the secret to Marcelo Bielsa's team is their left and right backs. They're not actually defenders. They seem to get forward at every single opportunity, but not in the same way that modern winning backs advance. It's like they become temporary hitmen. I think the idea is that if they advance, the ball needs to be knocked out of play one way or another so that they have sufficient time to assume their positions. They operate like a high stakes five-a-side team. Win the ball, take it forward, and shoot by the time the third person is on the ball. They are basically forced into taking the shot before the opposition regains their position. That way, all their forward players have enough space to take up their shooting positions and they have sufficient cover to deter the opposition from getting any ideas of their own. If Leeds are on the ball, you can find Ayling, Dallas, and Alioski in the opponent's half. These three players are in the top 5 most foul defenders in the Premier League last season. That is really saying something. Just what sort of positions are they picking up? Last season, whenever Bamford was on the ball, he was supported by any one of these three supposed defenders. You add the creativity of Rafinha to the mix, and you see the five-a-side model that I mentioned. This is of course excluding Calvin Phillips, who was tasked with breaking down anything that developed should Leeds get dispossessed during their attack. I can't say that it was a joy to watch them. You honestly needed to pay attention to try and decipher what is happening. One thing is for certain, they are highly effective at counterattacks. They scored the most goals from counterattacks last season with 7. The pick of that was against Manchester City. 2 counterattacks leading to 2 shots and 2 goals at the City of Manchester Stadium. I remember watching that game and thought they were finished in the second half as Leeds centre-back Lee Cooper received his marching orders just before the halftime whistle. How they played that entire second half under so much pressure was unbelievable. They adjusted to the situation and composed themselves. They nabbed the winner in extra time and finished the game with less than 30% possession. Guardiola's City team beat 18 of the 19 Premier League teams on offer last season, with Leeds being the only one to avoid defeat. The team defends and attacks as a unit. It's the closest I've seen to modern day total football. However, some have dubbed this style of play murder ball. Defensively, they made the most tackles in the league with 740. That's more than 19 tackles a game. Only Trent Alexander-Arnold has unleashed more shots than Stuart Dallas from all Premier League defenders. However, it was Dallas who had the most number of on-target shots from Premier League defenders. Luke Ayling was the only defender to make more than 100 tackles last season. Alioski is no longer a Leeds player after choosing not to accept their contract offer. He has been replaced by Barcelona's Junior Firpo, who signed a 4-year deal. In the midfield, they have 2 standout players. Rafinha is their chief creator. I'm sure he will be looking to break into the Brazil World Cup squad. Last season, he was in the top 5 for shots, assists, and big chances created from all Premier League midfielders. Then there is the English pitbull in Calvin Phillips. I think Calvin Phillips is on his way to Manchester City. He looks to be that £50 million Fernandinho replacement. Another midfield component to this team is their crossing output. Only Liverpool has crossed the ball more than them, and this was purely down to Robertson and Trent, who are responsible for 593 crosses of their 862 total. At Leeds, it's a combination of players who share this responsibility. Harrison and Rafinha are the main culprits, with the pair contributing to just under 40% of the team's 786 crosses. However, Dallas, Elik, and Alioski made significant contributions. Up front, they play with Patrick Bamford, who is their sole striker. Personally, I'd like to see Bamford score a few more goals with his head. He is 6'1" and should be more prolific in the air for someone with his lanky build. Last season, he was in the top 5 of all Premier League attackers for goals, shots, and shots on target, but ranked first for big chances missed using the same metric. They do have a backup forward in Rodrigo, who generally comes on to support Bamford in the attack. Rodrigo picked up 7 goals and 2 assists, which is impressive considering he played less than 1,300 Premier League minutes. Last season, they finished off in formidable fashion. From their last 10 Premier League games, they lost 1, drew 2, and won 7. They don't have a problem finding the back of the net, which is down to their many individual contributors. Last season, Leeds had 5 players scoring more than 5 Premier League goals. They outscored London heavyweights Chelsea and Arsenal. They also scored the most number of goals from outside the box with 14. They would be looking to start the season right where they left off. Their opening fixture is against Manchester United, which will be anyone's game. Then they play Everton, then Burnley, and have a home fixture against Liverpool. Not an easy start to the campaign for Leeds. Perhaps this season will be a better judgment of the strength of this Leeds team as they look to rid the second season syndrome that has plagued newly promoted teams. Until we meet again.